E aí camarada, suave, ManoBigodi aqui, trazendo mais um vídeo de Genshin Parte aqui pro canal. Dessa vez trazendo a continuação do vídeo anterior, né, claro, da história do Arconte, então vamos prosseguir.
According to the letter, this should be the place.
Sorry, we don't serve the general public. I'm afraid you'll have to leave.
Wait! We're not the general public.
Well then, you must be a couple of wandering outlanders that snuck into the nation, judging by your attire.
Are our clothes really so... what Paimon means to say is...
Aqui estão as cartas de convite.
The Yashiro Commission's seal. This must be from Mr. Toma. It seems there's more to you than meets the eye. In which case, welcome to the Komore Tea House, a safe haven for the Yashiro Commission.
Well, that sounds more like it.
Eu nem falo mais nada se a Paimon for convencido com esses caras aqui na Zuma, eu te falar, hein, mano, os caras chataço, hein. Pô, os caras ficam tratando mal diferentão, mano. Parece Japão, mano.
Well, now that we're here, where's Toma? Paimon doesn't see him anywhere. Do you think he forgot his promise to meet us?
Who forgot their promise? I was beginning to think you'd forgotten about me.
What? Is that dog talking to us?
Relax, no need to look so surprised. I take it this is the first time you've seen me in this form? Huh. So you didn't see anything like this when you were in Liyue Harbor?
Ah, now that you mention it, this does suddenly seem less out of the ordinary.
Eu reconheço o cachorro quando vejo um.
Alright. I've had my fun.
Eu sabia, mano. Era...
Hey! You're this close to getting an ugly nickname, mister!
Well, I've had some time to kill, given that I've been waiting here for you for so long, as was the case in Rito. So I came up with this little fun greeting for when you arrived. But in all seriousness, I would like to apologize about that little test you went through earlier, though it was quite necessary. It helped us determine whether or not to bring you before Miss Kamisato, and whether you had the courage to face the lightning alongside us.
Don't think that Paimon's gonna forgive you just because you're getting all serious now.
Sorry, did I overdo it? My apologies.
O que você quer dizer com companheiros para enfrentar o raio juntos?
Let me just say this. You've often found yourself skirting the rules from the very beginning, haven't you? Naturally, this is due to your unwavering and resolute determination. A long time ago, we had a friend who was much the same. But when the lightning struck...
Morreu. O amigo que morreu no do anime Imperial?
So you've heard of his story. His light still burns all the more brightly.
Estamos prontos a nos encontrar com a Shirizage Himegi. Shirizage Himegimi. Podemos ir agora?
Yes, of course. I will bring you to the Kamisato residence where the Yashiro Commission is located. But before that, there is one other place I was hoping you both would accompany me to.
Oh? Where?
I would like you to come with me to the statue of the omnipresent god. It's still under construction now, but you can already see it from practically
Porra,
anywhere on
trailer. Eu
Narukami
pensei que ela
Island.
era uma estado 7, só que o estado 7 é diferente. Pensei que aquela com ela com asas era ela, mas nem. Ô Toromaru, qual que vai meu nobre? Dono na casa de chá de Komore. Au. Quem é um cachorro bonito? Você é. Au, au, au. Ai, que bonitinho. É, muito bonitinho, velho. Ah, mano. Sim, tá ficando olhando pra aí um pouquinho. Tá bom, deu. Já deu? bem, então vamos lá. Falar com... Oxi. Ah, não tava aparecendo a missão ali? Vou até a estátua da deusa onipresente. Caralho. Ah, então ela sabe que a gente veio, né? Se é assim. Pô. As imagens lá da... Tá porra, tamanho da cabeça. Lembra o Vente, mano. Os bonecos tem do rosto igual, velho. É que não é realista, né, cara? Mas é um desenho, então tem tanto detalhe. Aí fica tudo meio parecido mesmo.
Sure feels gloomy. People probably don't come here often, do they?
Eu também acho.
Are Paimon's eyes playing tricks? Or are there things embedded in the statue?
Visions.
Visões.
Visions? You mean all the visions that are collected from the Vision Hunt decree are put into the statue?
So you've already heard of the Vision Hunt decree.
Mas por que o Shogun proclamou o decreto de cada visão?
Before I try to explain,
I
should perhaps remind you first that Mondstadt is the city of freedom, and Liyue is the city of contracts. As for Inazuma, it's known as the Nation of Eternity. The Raiden Shogun is both the nation's most powerful ruler and its deity. The Eternity in question is her endless and unchanging will to rule over Inazuma. As such, she relies on the Tri-Commission to regulate the nation's affairs, and the Sakoku Decree to limit the people's movement.
Ah, tem que parar no
The
tempo.
Shogun
Tem que
wishes
ficar
to keep
eternamente
Inazuma
no
in
mesmo lugar,
stasis,
sabe?
allowing the stream of time to flow from one end to the other without disturbing it for all time.
Ah, ela tá presa no teto, tá presa no tempo.
Of course, this is my own limited understanding. As for the reason behind the recent Vision Hunt decree,
Ah, a impressão
perhaps the
dele, né?
Shogun believes that visions grant people the power to change, and that her eternity doesn't allow for such instability to exist.
Ah,
Whatever the case, the fact is that the Raiden Shogun has dispatched the Tenryou Commission to scour the nation for visions, embedding each one in this statue. And this statue of the omnipresent god can be seen as Inazuma's symbol of eternity.
But if that's the case, wouldn't you say that the Raiden Shogun is being...
Hey.
Oh, I don't know. Selfish?
Only outlanders such as yourselves would ever dare speak out so directly against the Raiden Shogun.
imagina.
And yet, I agree. The Vision Hunt decree is something that simply should not exist. And Miss Kamisato has been committed to fighting it since the day it was announced.
Que porra é essa, viado?
Huh? Hey, are you okay? You look like your mind is elsewhere.
O que é esse
Sound?
som?
What sound? I didn't hear anything. Did something happen?
Yeah, you touched the statue, and then... And then what?
Parece que ouviu o desejo das pessoas.
Aspirations? That would seem to confirm the saying. Have you heard it before? That when a person's ambition reaches a certain strength, the gods look upon them with favor. That is where visions come from. In other words, a person's vision represents their ambition. So if what you just said is true, then the ambitions of these people are stronger than I imagined.
Então o que uma visão representa não é poder, mas desejo.
Alright, time for the next stop on our tour of Narukami Island, the Kamisato residence.
Morra.
Finally!
Finalmente. Realmente. As aspirações de todos. Ou algo assim. Puta que pariu, ele vem até aqui. Pra depois ir até ali. E eu não tenho teleporte, eu tenho. Não tenho. Pô, onde que eu tava, viado? Eu vim aqui, subi, não peguei teleporte, peguei porra nenhuma. Peguei o teleporte aqui primeiro, né? Pelo amor de Deus. Pô, mano, a música é muito boa, cara. Meu Deus, mano. E o Penshen, mano, o cara é um mestre na composição, cara. As músicas que ele compõe são muito boas, cara. Aqui, é um cara aqui. Os outros é mais mulher. O cara da... que você troca os bagulhinhos. Ouve rapidão, pode ser? Só quero ver o que ele vende. Se ele vende constelação viajante ou é só na estátua aqui. Disponibiliza. Que? Será que é por causa que eu não completei não completei a missão que é necessária? A gente podia comprar skin aqui, né? E aí, cachorrito. Ou por causa que eles ainda não adicionaram nada na loja e só tá aí. Não faço ideia. Lojista. Ah, ela cuida da alquimia. Pô, tô com minhas nada cheias e não dá pra gastar agora não, velho. Deixa tudo acumulado pra gastar em Inazuma. Não, Caterina, vou falar com você agora não. Teleporte, simbora, né? Vai na casa do meu saco, mano. Vai se fuder. Aí chegamos. Só que aí com a Yaka, né? Que a gente vai falar, né? Se eu não me engano, é ela. Eu não tenho certeza que é ela, na verdade. Só espera carregar aqui, né? Minha PlayStation 5, então tem um SSD.
This is the kind of place where the big shots of Inazuma live, huh? Paimon kinda expected it to be snazzier.
Acho que câmera de Jade é mais, hein? Aí fica voa até, né, mano? Pelo menos eu já conheço a câmera de Jade.
At last to the Kamisato residence, honored guest. Miss Kamisato is delighted to finally meet you.
Is this the Shirasage Himegimi you keep going on about? So, where's she at? Behind the screen?
Yes. As the daughter of the Yashiro Commission, this is how Miss Kamisato is accustomed to receiving guests. Consider it a time-honored tradition within the Yashiro Commission. Forgive me if this is an unwelcome surprise.
Então isso faz sentido.
Makes sense. She's a super important person after all.
Please forgive my lack of courtesy for receiving you in this fashion, especially following such a long and wearisome journey over the sea.
Relaxa, não sou de julgar a cultura dos outros.
Great anticipation. And Toma assures me that you do indeed possess the power to change the tide of the times. At present in Inazuma, in the name of the Vision Hunt Decree, the people's aspirations are being senselessly trampled underfoot. Though the Yashiro Commission serves the Shogun, it is the people with whom we share close bonds, given the contact we are required to have with them in the performance of our duties. A commission's power rises and falls with the trust of their people. Thus, we cannot remain indifferent to this situation without also remaining indifferent to our own fate. Traveler, lend us your power, and we can...
Caralho, de novo, viajante. Tá me decepcionando demais, cara. Eu vou ter que responder, né, mano, do 2, cara. Não queria que eu tava, mano. Eu ajudo de boa. Mano, o viajante, é isso que você faz, cara. Que decepção, mano. É o seu forte, cara. Você não falou. É que eu acho que depois ele ir no abismo lá, ver a irmã dele, acho que ele mexeu com ele, velho. Não é possível. Estou aqui só. Peço desculpas, mas não estou aqui para contrariar.
See, milady, it's just like I said. This will take us nowhere.
Irei me direto aqui, pô, viajante.
Oh, please! Wait! Please, don't go! I will introduce you to the Raiden Shogun on one condition. You must fulfill 3 small wishes on my behalf.
What are your wishes?
They pertain to 3 whose visions were taken from them. Perhaps once you've met them, you will understand.
Acho que ele vai fazer a gente entender, né? E a gente querer por nós mesmos.
A warrior who guards a village, a former samurai who helped carry out the Vision Hunt Decree, and a swordmaster determined to become the best in the world.
É o Zoro.
Does Paimon get that right?
Roubaram o Zoro, cara.
Please do all you can to help them. I will await your return here.
Você tem minha palavra.
Then you have my gratitude.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Valeu, Toma. Pô, Toma legal, hein? Olha, vontade de puxar nele. Falam que ele é que vai ser o Shinkyu. Mas... Cadê a mulher? Enfim, dizem que ele vai ser o Shinkyu de Pyro, né? Vai ser um sub DPS que vai aplicar Pyro pra caralho, que nem um Shinkyu. Não vai ser mais espada de fogo, obviamente, né? Ou vai, não sei, né? Vai ser algo parecido, assim, forte igual. Pelo menos no sentido de aplicação, né? Dano, não sei. Tipo, o super da Shang-Li é bom, só que não é a melhor coisa, porque que tem ele fica rodando, sabe? Demora pra rodar, né? E a espada de um Shang-Li pega de longe também. Vou lá na casa do meu saco de novo, mano. Deixa eu ver se... Tem teleporte... Tem sim, suave. Isso aqui é bom, velho. Tá perto do teleporte e já salva, já, mano. Pode ser que você precise.
Why are you doing this? Why leave all of a sudden, after all these years?
Precisely. It's much too sudden. We've had no time to prepare. The children are desperate for you to take them out to play. Please, we urge you to reconsider.
Será que é os pais? Eu acho que é.
Let's go over and see.
Oxi, nossa, viu o cabelo branco, eu pensei que era esse cara. Será que as pessoas aqui tem cabelo branco? Todo mundo? Não, tem um cara de cabelo... Não, mas tem bastante, hein? Ah, mas não quer ele é uma senhora, né? Cabelo preto fica branco. Aqui no Japão também, a maioria das pessoas tem cabelo preto também.
If you want my opinion, something to do with the Vision Hunt decree. It's clear that Tejima had done nothing wrong, and still they confiscated his vision. After that, he became a completely different person. I can't claim to fully understand it, but I could tell that he'd lost something very important to him. He went off on a walk, alone, circled the village a few times, and then out of the blue, he announced that he was going to leave and become a wanderer. Truth be told, we aren't sure whether trying to keep him here is the right thing to do. But equally, it doesn't feel right to let him leave when he's in this state. He's a lost soul.
Seems like he's a well-respected guy around here.
Caramba, hein? Complicado. Porque os caras não dão um jeito de colocar a visão dele no corpo aí, nem tem como roubar. Genial, não?
You must also be here to try and convince Tejima to stay.
Tejima
has protected this place ever since he arrived here 30 years ago. Keeping out the treasure hoarders, fending off any monsters that draw near, resolving quarrels between the villagers. He has put an enormous amount of work into looking after this place, and we all think the world of him. But now, all of a sudden, he says he plans to leave us.
Relaxa, meu senhor.
We can't help but wonder, was it something we did? We will gladly apologize if that's the case. All we want is for him to stay.
Tadinha, senhorinha. Engraçadinho os senhores do Genshin. Isso é uma corcunda com as mãozinhas pra trás e o joelho dobradinho. Me conte que houve, Tejima.
So what's made you want to up and leave all of a sudden?
Me? It's not a question of why I want to leave, but a question of what reason I would have to stay.
Todo mundo depende de você.
True. But that's not why I chose to stay here. And what made me want to come here 30 years ago? And why have I never wanted to leave in all that time? I don't have answers to those questions because I can't remember anymore. Ever since they took my vision away, it's like a slice of my memory is gone. In the past, I knew I wanted to stay here. But whatever resolve I had then, it's gone now. So I thought, what's to stop me from moving around instead? The emptiness inside me will be there either way.
Okay. Well, in that case, if we help you rediscover the reason you chose to stay, you won't need to leave
Acho que
anymore,
não é tão
right?
simples assim não, pai.
But if you can't remember anything, it's not gonna be easy. Oh, maybe if you just try a little harder to remember, then it'll all come flooding back?
Oh, that reminds me. Last time I brought Tejima some fruit, I do believe I saw him writing in a diary.
I keep a diary? If you say so. I honestly can't seem to remember.
Oh, yes, you do. And what's more, I remember you saying at the time that you wanted to make a note of a few interesting things. Things which would prove very important at a later date.
Será que o Elisabel
So
sentiu
if we
que
want to
aconteceu
keep
isso?
Tejima from leaving, we just need to find his diary. It must be around here somewhere. Let's take a look.
Acho que não é tão simples
If you
assim não,
don't
pai.
mind, we will leave you to find the diary. We should head back to the village to inform the others of Tejima's situation.
Acho que não é tão simples não, pai. Melão.
This looks like Tejima's diary, all right. Let's see what we... Today, the villagers and I got together to cook dried braised salted fish. I messed up and burned mine a little, so I had to pretend that it was black snakehead instead. Today, I helped rescue a kid who had fallen in the water. After I pulled him out, he told me that his best friend Bamboo was still in the water. I searched the water the whole afternoon before finding out that Bamboo was the name of his pet crab. I went kite flying today. The string broke, so I chased after it as fast as I could. I soon realized I was never going to get it back, so I just found somewhere to sit and watch as it flew away into the distance. Seems like your average diary
diário
of
do
daily
cara.
village life. Huh? Wait, there's more! I went to pray at the shrine again today and stayed there a while. The Omamori you gave me has faded a little, but it is still my most treasured possession. Now that's the kind of info we're looking for. Time to pay a visit to the shrine.
Então vamos, né? O pai não tá com muita expectativa, né? Bom, expectativa muito alta, né? Ah, tem que... Putz. Examinar vestígios.
So this is the Omamori Tejima wrote about. Interesting. Looking at the color and the design, Paimon would have thought it belonged to a child. But anyway, if he had this with him all the time, there's a chance some of his elemental energy remained on it. Do you think that it might come in handy?
Não sei, né? Vamos usar essa porra. Ah, não, tô assim. Oxe, aqui pra trás, né? Essas pedrinhas aqui. Parece que sim.
Yeah! This seems to be somewhere that Tejima visited a lot. The soil looks like it's been disturbed. Maybe Tejima buried something precious here. Something that kept him in the village all these years? Must be something pretty amazing if it made him stick around for 30 years. Let's dig it up and take a look.
Não parece muito bacana de fazer, não.
It looks like a letter. The paper's gone yellow. Must have been written a really long time ago. Konda Village. Sounds so familiar. Where is that place again?
Se agora nos separamos nessa guerra, espere por mim na Vila Konda. Haverá um abrigo seguro para nós.
So the reason Tejima came here was to wait for someone. But he's been here for 30 years. Oh, guess they didn't show up in the end, huh? Well, let's go give Tejima his stuff back and take it from there.
Enfim, acho que não é assim que escreve, não. É junto. Ou também pode ser separado. Talvez enfim seja a junção de em e fim. O que eu tô falando, meu Deus do céu? Chega o baile.
That's certainly my handwriting. And I guess the Omamorian letter belonged to me too. But I have no memory of anything that's written in this diary. Still, it's clear that I was waiting for someone here, and that I chose to wait for 30 years. Over the years, I must have made a note of anything interesting. Anything that I could share with her when we were finally reunited. And just look at all the things that did happen over the years. The time has flown by so quickly. 30 years feels like the blink of an eye.
Tempo, 30 anos, velho. É
How could I
terço da
have
vida
forgotten
praticamente,
something
quase.
so important to me?
Caralho,
Now that I
sem
think
alma,
about
velho.
it, when my vision was taken from me, it felt like I'd suddenly been hollowed out. Love, regret, everything I felt for her, it's all disappeared. No, not especially. After all, I've forgotten who she was. Her face, her voice, the things we experienced together.
Caralho, mano, que merda, viado.
I barely recall any of it.
Muito triste, velho.
It's as if she'd never been in my life to begin with. As if all these years had been nothing but a hazy dream. I think maybe not. If this is something I waited most of my life for, I suppose I should carry on waiting. Although, what if she were to turn up eventually, only to find I didn't remember so much as her name?
Caralho,
Wouldn't
mano,
that be
que
upsetting
pede.
for her? When I think about it like that,
Eu acho que a pessoa que... Acho que vai ser mais bad a história da pessoa que perdeu a visão.
How curious. Why am I thinking like this when I don't even remember who she is? It's just like that feeling of emptiness. The feeling that something is missing. Thank you both for helping me reconnect with my reason for staying here. I shall remain here and keep waiting for her.
Tejima seems to be dealing okay, but still, it makes Paimon really sad.
Não, nada é mais triste do que perder a razão da tristeza.
Seems
Velho.
it's just like Ayaka and Toma were saying. If you lose your vision, you lose all your hopes and dreams too.
Que merda,
That
viado.
certainly
Que
explains
triste,
the
cara.
state Tejima was in earlier. At least we were able to help him, weren't we? Well, let's go find the next
E a
person.
musiquinha de fundo, velho. Porra. A pessoa perde o sonho e a esperança,
According to
né,
Miss Kamisato, the second one who lost their vision is a samurai from the Tenryou Commission.
Pô, mano, mas aquilo que o Virante falou é foda. É verdade. Nada é mais triste que perder a razão da tristeza, irmão. Por causa que ele não sei se ele nem tá triste, por causa que ele não se lembra, entendeu? Que só faz ficar mais triste ainda, mano. Pô, ele nem tá triste, mano. Como assim, tipo... Acho que acontece, tipo, às vezes tipo, acontecer algo, você perde algo na sua vida e você nem fica triste, porque tem alguma coisa errada, entendeu? Pô, esse eletro aqui, mano, olha como se move, mano. Você tem que ficar ligeiro, mano, porque senão você perde de vista, cara. Se chegar perto deles, mano, presta atenção nisso, mano. Enfim, vou dar um corte que tá muito longe, então aguardem. Aí chegamos, falar com um guerreiro, aparentemente. Ou vou só fazer essa missão aqui de falar com os 3 malucos e parar, porque eu tô ficando com sono já, meus olhos tá cansado. Eu acho que umas 2 horas e pouco já.
Paimon doesn't get it. Huh? There seems to be some commotion over there. Let's go see what's happening.
I'll ask one more time. Do you intend to withhold this month's emergency provisions?
The entire clan is counting on that food. We demand an explanation. How many times do I have to say it? I don't know anything about emergency provisions.
You dare deceive us? Those provisions are essential. Do you understand? Not some goods to be pocketed by greedy samurai.
You samurai think you can just do whatever you please? The Tenryou Commission will hear of this.
Provisões de emergência? Como comida de emergência?
Oh, huh? And who are you? One of Kurosawa's gang, no doubt.
Se precisa de comida de emergência, eu tenho aqui, velho.
I see. You seem to have come just at the right time. Perhaps you can help us settle this matter. This is Kurosawa. He's a samurai and a member of the Shogun's army. They issue emergency provisions to the area, and he's the one responsible for distribution. In the past, we'd simply ask him for provisions and everything would be delivered. Now, he suddenly refuses to give us anything. He's keeping the provisions for himself, I just know it. We'll starve without them.
No one seems to care about us. We used to think Kurosawa was a kind man, but he's shown his true colors. He's the same as all the other samurai. It's no wonder all the visions have been confiscated. The Raiden Shogun doesn't need people like him helping her rule the nation.
This must be one of the people Ayaka asked us to help. But why would she ever want us to help someone like him? Maybe we should talk to Kurosawa and see what he has to say.
Ele não deve se lembrar, mano, o que ele tem que fazer. E aí, meu nobre, quer conversar? Aí, ó, perdeu a memória.
I don't know whether it's rumors or whether they're trying to blackmail me. But either way, it's ridiculous. If I was hoarding supplies, would I still be the poor man I am today? My own family can barely get by as it is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got other matters to attend to. And that's the first bit of truth I've heard all day. The Shogun's army told me that I was unworthy of my vision. And they said I was slacking off in my work. Apparently, I'd even disappointed the Raiden Shogun. And that's why they confiscated my vision.
Well, that's strange. You were helping enforce the Vision Hunt Decree. Why would you be unworthy of your vision?
To be perfectly honest, I don't seem to remember the details. All I know is that I would perform certain things every month. But I don't recall what they were. And it's not just that. I have this unsettling feeling, like someone owes me something.
Does it have to do with the missing emergency provisions?
I didn't take any. Like I said, if I was taking them for myself, I wouldn't be going through such hard times right now. To top it all off, my house was just raided by treasure hoarders. Which is why I came here in the first place. I was chasing after them when I got held up by these two. If you don't believe me, go find the treasure hoarders yourself. If there were any emergency provisions to be had, they would have found them.
He seems to be telling the truth. But we better confirm. Let's go round up those treasure hoarders and see what they have to say. We should be able to follow their tracks. They couldn't have gone too far.
Ai, vamos dar um sacode nesse ladrão. Ah, pensei que era... Ah, era porrada nesse cara.
Although samurai houses packed with goods, we really
Vocês são uns filhos de uma puta, hein? Tá roubando comida dos outros, mano. Vocês sem vergonha na cara não, mano.
You haven't seen anything yet.
Vocês me dão
There'll be a
nojo.
lot more where this came from. Today's just the beginning. I'll be leading you all on an epic journey of pillage and plunder that will go down in hoarder history.
You demand,
Filhas da
boss.
puta.
These seem like the treasure hoarders we're after. Let's teach them a lesson.
Vamos. A gente realmente vai dar um sacode nele? É, isso mesmo.
Rain outlines your fate.
Take this.
Hã?
Dodge this.
Toma. Que?
You're open.
Caralho, não morreram não?
Oh, there goes all the Mora. We worked hard to steal that, you know?
Ah, eles trabalharam duro pra roubar, né? Foi mal.
Come on, boss. Think of something.
Not bad, kid. You ever think of joining the treasure hoarders?
Eu tenho que ver uma ideia,
Use
né?
someone like you.
Vai se fuder, né, meu cara? Esquive com os que você sabe.
Kurosawa. Oh, I remember. So he's the one who sent you after us, huh? Just our luck. I knew he shouldn't have hit that place.
So what did you see inside? Was it stuffed with food supplies?
Food supplies? You kidding? That place was a complete mess. All we found was a strange-looking box, hopefully with valuables inside. I didn't want anyone else to see it, so I was planning on opening it myself once we got back. But now that you've caught us, how about we make a deal? That little box for our freedom. What do you say?
Que negócio melhor? Pega a caixa e o pneu assim.
Now show us what's in the box.
Ei,
Huh? What the?
There's nothing in here but IOUs.
Yeah, a lot of them too. And they all seem to be made out to the owner of a general goods store, a Miss Aoi. We're talking tons of more of
porra.
here. We better talk to this Miss Aoi and get to the bottom of this. As for you guys, you're free to go. Just pray that our paths don't cross again.
Yes, of
Ai,
course.
esse cara tá comendo da pai, mano.
So, we redeemed ourselves for some IOUs. Does that mean we broke even?
Shut it. Let's just get out of here.
O cara é irmão gêmeo, né? Agora que eu fui parar. É, porra. Vai me fazer andar mesmo o jogo. Tá bom então. Aí eu cheguei, mas eu nem vi se tinha teleporte. Tinha um teleporte o tempo todo, então eu sou meio burro e vim a pé, né? Mas bom que olha a paisagem, né?
Welcome to Tsukumomono Groceries. We've got everything you need. Can I help you find something?
Cara, eu tô com
Or
sono, mano.
perhaps
Terminar
there's
essa parte da
something you
missão
want
e
to inquire
vazar.
about? Ah, so you're friends of Kurosawa, I take it? Perhaps you're here to pay off his debts.
Então.
Whoa, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're just here to learn where they all came from. How did Kurosawa end up owing you so much money? Did he buy anything super expensive here?
Let me think. Kurosawa would come regularly to purchase large quantities of foodstuffs. He'd always put the payment on his own account. However,
Nossa.
the price of provisions began to skyrocket recently, and his salary was no longer enough to cover the cost. So, he started writing out IOUs to cover whatever he couldn't afford of the usual amount.
emergency provisions. But why did he have to purchase a usual amount? If the prices increased, couldn't he just buy less?
Então, né?
If you think about it, the citizens
Pessoa precisa
receiving
comer
the
e não
emergency
pode comprar
provisions
menos.
must have been carefully calculating how much they needed to sustain them each time. Kurosawa thought that it would be quite the disappointment for them if they found they didn't have enough, especially after such long and careful planning. So he deemed it necessary to take on the debt rather than let the people down.
Wow. Kurosawa was purchasing all the emergency provisions at his own expense. And no one ever appreciated what he did. They just complained and held him accountable.
É que eles não
People's
devem saber.
attitudes will always reflect their circumstances. In the face of hardship, nobody cares to think twice.
Ou eles sabiam, né?
If you ask me, had Kurosawa told everyone the truth about the supplies from the start, then there wouldn't be such a severe backlash now. Of course, I'm sure there would still have been some unrest. What he was doing was truly a thankless deed. As for why he chose to spend his own money on emergency provisions and never tell anyone, I'm still not too clear myself. If you're still curious, why don't you go ask him yourself?
Infelizmente ele não se lembra.
I see. That reminds me, it seems that his vision was recently confiscated. Most unfortunate. If he doesn't clear the debt on his name, he'll have no choice but to sell that sword that is so dear to him.
Sword? What sword?
Oh, didn't he tell you? He possesses a very valuable blade. He's carried it for years now. I've asked him about its origins. He told me that it was a gift from his father, that it was too precious to sell. In hindsight, I regret that I never made an offer on it. Everything has its price, at least that's what I think. Why don't you ask him about the sword yourself? Perhaps it'll even provide you with the answers you're looking for. Oh, but before you go, if you would kindly settle today's bill.
But we didn't buy anything!
Information is also a kind of commodity, wouldn't you agree?
Ô, viajante,
Don't
amada,
worry,
deixa ela falando
I won't
sozinha.
charge much for information about Kurosawa. Nothing we ever discussed was explicitly confidential anyway. Oh, let me think. 2,000 mora should be a fair price.
At
Justo.
least we now know where the emergency provisions were coming from. Plus, we found out that Kurosawa has a
Relaxa, depois
priceless
eu gasto uma
sword in his
resinha.
possession.
E a missão de história dá bastante mora também, então.
And see if you can remember anything.
Então tá suave, filho. Tome.
What are you doing here all by yourself? Where did those other two go?
I presented them with a choice. Either they left or I drew my sword. They left.
Carai.
It turned out to be a real time saver, actually. Perhaps I should start using it more often. Did you manage to track down the treasure hoarders? Everything I said was true, right?
Na verdade.
That just about sums it up. It turns out that you really were distributing emergency provisions, but they were all purchased at your own expense.
Strange. Is that really the kind of person I was? I don't really have any such recollection. Even after all you've told me, I still don't remember anything. Why was I purchasing emergency provisions for everyone? And why would I put myself in such a difficult situation? I really don't understand. But I cannot deny that when I brandished my sword to scare those two away, I could sense that my body was somehow reluctant to do so.
Sim, pode dar uma olhada?
This sword was once wielded by my father. I remember once when I was young, I wanted to sneak out with the blade and show it off to the kids next door. My father ended up catching me in the act and scolded me severely. What did he say? I can't seem to remember that either. It would seem that I forgot many important things when my vision was taken from me. So many memories gone. Forever. No matter how hard I try to remember, all I can remember now is my father telling me that this blade bore his life's creed. Before he passed away, he placed the sword in my hands and said to me, "With this sword, you should."
Esqueceu.
Hey, if you look carefully, there seems to be some words engraved on the hilt. Can you recognize the words?
As palavras são virtude e justiça.
Virtue and justice? Somehow those two words seem to explain everything now. Taking on seemingly endless debts to make others happy. I guess that must have been my greatest ambition after all. But what use of virtue and justice? I purchased the provisions for those in need. And look how things ended up. The Tenryo Commission seized my vision. And the very people I was so desperately trying to help refused to understand me. And the irony of all of it is, I somehow still felt sorry when threatening them with my blade. I'm incapable of being a good person, yet I'm equally unable to be bad. I don't know what to do with myself.
Yet another troubled soul. When we get the chance, let's speak to Toma about Kurosawa's debt. The Yashiro Commission would surely help cover his expenses. In any case, we must never let him sell off that sword.
Perder uma visão.
Yeah, seems like losing all ambition is a terrible experience. Fortunately for us, you don't have a vision. Let's go find the next poor soul.
E é de fuder, né, mano? Você não escolhe ter uma visão, mas os caras vão lá, rouba e você perde sua ambição, cara. Vai tomar no cu, velho. Porra. E aí, camarada, suave? ManoBigodi da edição aqui. Quem não quiser, o vídeo vai ficando por aqui, ok? Por causa que vai ser o melhor encaixe, né? O melhor corte vai ficar para o vídeo ficar bem estruturado. Desculpa por demorar os vídeos. É que eu fiquei com preguiça, sendo sincero. Mesmo eu não fazendo nada mirabolante nas edições. Eu sou meio vagabundo mesmo, então foi mal aí. Mas eu acho que eu vou pegar para editar todos os vídeos que tem para editar, juntar as partes. Pra eu ficar livre, não ter que ficar pensando em editar depois. Enfim, o vídeo vai ficando por aqui. Espero que vocês tenham gostado. Se sim, deixa o gostei. Se você gosta aqui do conteúdo do meu canal e de mim, né? Se inscreve pra dar aquela moral, tentando dar aquela força pra continuar gravando. E ativa o sino também, porque como eu não posto muitos vídeos, quando eu postar, aí vocês já ficam sabendo. Mas enfim, o vídeo vai ficando por aqui mesmo, tá? Obrigado por assistir. Valeu e falou.